Week 2 of preseason, baby. I can't wait to tune in. Let's check it out. Oh, shit. That's McKenzie returning the kickoff. Oh, he's going to go. He's going to take this. Good return, McKenzie. Yes, in the first drive, we get to see the starters. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis. Let's go.
3 hours later.
Yo, I thought the Bills had a game against, like, a professional football team today. The Broncos. Yeah, I know they played the Broncos, jackass. It looked like they played the JV clearance football team. I mean, fuck's sake, it looked like halfway through the second quarter, Case Keenum was playing against the air. What is going on, y'all? It is the Caveman back at it again with another video. The second week of preseason has come to an end for the Buffalo Bills. We take down the Denver Broncos on our own home turf, 42-15. As I'm sure you read in the title and the thumbnail, I'm going to go through the biggest key takeaways I had from the second week of preseason. Just like how I joked about it at the beginning of the video in that skit, I mean, it really didn't seem like the Buffalo Bills were playing against anything other than air. I mean, we completely demolished them, stomped our foot on their neck, and we kept pushing and pushing, and they did not resist whatsoever. Lucky for us, we were able to get a taste of Josh Allen in the Buffalo Bills first team offense. He hit Gabe Davis for a certified psycho touchdown. I mean, this dude's scrambling. Looks like he's probably going to run, and then he thinks twice about it, turns his head after a 360 and just darts a 40-yard rope.
Give him a chance. Empty set on second down. Allen with time. Now fires, looking end zone, and it's caught! Touchdown! Gabe Davis!
There is only a small handful of quarterbacks that are making that kind of play, man. It doesn't matter who it's against. Gabe Davis goes up and makes a tremendous grab. Mind you, Gabe Davis had 3 touchdowns on his last 3 drives playing, which is a ridiculous stat. And then as the game went on, it started to look like a preseason repeat of the Bills versus Patriots playoff game in the wild card. We damn near had a perfect offensive game. Only one drive we didn't have a touchdown in, which we punted on. That will leak into my first takeaway of the video. Case Keenum looked phenomenal in his second preseason stint. Keenum was 16 for 18 with 192 passing yards and a touchdown with a rating of 129.6. After the first week of preseason, he looked like a completely different player. Everybody, including myself, kind of started to sound the alarm on Case Keenum after his performance last week. Matt Barkley came in and relieved him, and he looked 4 times better. But being the veteran that Case Keenum is, he shut down that quarterback 2 conversation. He's definitely the backup. I'm sorry, Matt Barkley. We all love you, but it's 100% Case Keenum. So I think we could kind of silence the alarm as far as the second quarterback spot goes. But let's move into takeaway number 2, which would be the running back room and how it only got 400 times harder to predict. I'm not going to go through each of their stat lines individually, but every single running back that got a touch in this game looked phenomenal. And a lot of credit is due to the offensive line. I mean, every single time that those guys were touching the ball in the backfield, they had a humongous lane to run through. James Cook looked explosive. He looked shifty on the couple carries that he had, really slippery to try and tackle. Raheem Blackshear, the undrafted rookie, had another phenomenal week running the ball as well. I unfortunately don't think there's going to be a spot for him. He's going to kind of be the Antonio Williams 2.0, going to be a massive fan favorite, just never able to crack the roster. But the real running back duo going on in the backfield right now is between Zach Moss and Duke Johnson. Tywan Jones, I'm starting to think, is a roster lock. Obviously, James Cook and Devin Singletary are going to make it. And I really don't foresee a universe in which the Buffalo Bills have 5 running backs on the roster, so it's going to come down to Duke, and it's going to come down to Zach. I am a big believer in getting rid of Zach Moss. I don't think he really offers anything to this football team that we don't already have. But based on what I'm seeing on the field and the amount of touches he's getting, the goal line carries, on top of the fact that all these Bills beat reporters and all these other content creators, they're seeming to think that Zach Moss will be a Buffalo Bill going to the season and going into 2023. The big reason for that is primarily because of Devin Singletary and his contract situation. This is his final year on his contract, and it seems like a lot of people are writing off the idea that we could re-sign him. And that's completely understandable because running backs are so expendable in the NFL nowadays. Nobody really wants to re-sign them to a second contract, but who knows? I mean, if Devin runs his ass off this season and he wants to come back on a team-friendly deal, I don't think that reality is necessarily out of the question, but it seems like a lot of people are starting to rule that out, which is really opening the door for Zach Moss on this football team going into this season. But I'm going to stick to my guns, man. I don't think Zach Moss offers enough. I don't care about the Devin Singletary contract situation right now. So for up to me, I'm taking Duke Johnson, but based on all the reports I'm reading, based on the touches in the preseason over the last 2 weeks, I think Zach Moss is going to be the player that sticks around this season. Anyways, moving into takeaway number 3, we had an OJ OJ Howard sighting this week. He had 3 receptions. He also had a touchdown, which was very relieving to see. After the first week of preseason, he was essentially invisible, and that was a terrifying thought considering he was supposed to be kind of like our second tight end. Oh, also on a side note, talking about the Bills tight ends, I also want to send my prayers, my remorse to the Knox family. I know Dawson Knox's brother recently passed away tragically. He was only like 21, 22 years old. He was a young kid. So all my prayers go out to the Knox family, and Bills Mafia is of course doing what we do best, and we're showing all the love and support to the Knox family as much as we can. Keeping it on a positive note, outside of Dawson Knox, we really don't have tight end depth. I know Quentin Morris is starting to make more of an appearance as the weeks go on throughout preseason, but I just don't think he's necessarily going to be enough. I don't like Tommy Sweeney whatsoever. I wish he would have been cut for Jacob Hollister last season. But outside of Quentin and outside of Tommy, I really don't have much faith in the depth we have in the tight end room, and I think OJ Howard's really the only one with any kind of potential or promise, especially in the red zone. So I really hope we see more of him in week 3. Takeaway number 4, sticking with the offense. The wide receiver room is probably going to be even more difficult than the running back room to try and sort out. We have a tremendously disgusting amount of talent there, and I feel bad for Brandon Beane because he's going to have to figure something out. But how can we not take 7 wide receivers going into next season, man? The talent that we have in that room is ridiculous. After what Khalil Shakir has showcased in just the first 2 weeks, there's absolutely no chance he makes it through waivers, so I 100% expect him to be on the roster. It's Isaiah Hodgins that's really making things extra difficult, man. I think everybody's been kind of waiting for him to make a true impact. We've all been waiting to see some Isaiah Hodgins sightings, and finally this season we have, and he's been making himself a very big target for whoever's under center. We've been stashing and harboring this dude in our franchise for the last couple of years. There's no way after he's taken the development steps that he has that we're going to let him go after all this time, especially after the impact he's had so far. Like I said, there's absolutely no way Khalil Shakir is going anywhere, so 7 wide receivers might have to be the move, and I'm completely okay with that. Now for takeaway number 5, Shaq Lawson is the guy that I want to highlight after the performance he had. In a pass deflection, which nearly was an interception, he was getting all sorts of pressure off the edge. Shaq Lawson is being charted as our 5th string defensive end right now, and that is a disgusting thing to say out loud. I thought last season our defensive line depth was extremely solid, but now this year we added Von Miller, obviously, but now the talent that we have behind the first stringers is just off the chart. Shaq Lawson, the 5th string, that's not fair. Also, this isn't going to be its own takeaway, but keep your eye on linebacker Balen Spector, the 7th round selection out of Clemson. He once again led the team in tackles in week 2 of the preseason. He did it in week 1 as well. With Andre Smith's suspension coming up, I do think Balen Spector is sneaking up on that spot. It's certainly up for grabs. He's had a great preseason up to this point. His best shot on this roster is carving out a role on special teams. If he's able to do that, I think he's got a very solid shot at making the 53-man, so keep your eye on Balen. And takeaway number 6, this one I'm going to keep very short and sweet. The fake punting competition is continuing. Of course, Matt Haack had the only punt of the day from the 50-yard line. After the game, McDermott did go on record to say that Matt Haack was slated to have the first punting opportunity of the game. Obviously, we went on to only punt once in the entire game itself. We did not select Ariza to lose the punting battle to Matt Haack because he's a better holder. I mean, if that ends up being the case, there's going to be some serious criticism coming from the Bills Mafia fan base. But yeah, those are my 6 takeaways from week 2 of the preseason against the Denver Broncos. Although I gotta be completely honest, week 2 of the preseason is not going to be taken into much consideration, at least for myself personally. As far as I'm concerned, based on what I saw in that game, the Broncos stayed in Denver. I mean, the Buffalo Bills looked great. Don't get me wrong. We have awesome depth. We have so much talent on this team. Denver looked like they dressed up a bunch of retired correctional officers and threw them on the field to play against us. They were just straight out bad. And if I'm a Broncos fan, understandably, that's not their first stringers. Their depth is certainly going to be a massive question mark because they couldn't do jack shit. So at the end of the day, if any Bills players didn't play well in this game, I think that's kind of concerning. I wish the best of luck to Big Baller Bean. He's going to have to put those big balls to work because this roster is going to be impossible to carve out. But anyway, if you enjoyed the video, as always, please leave any comments you have down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed, please like, subscribe, do all the fun stuff. If you want to hit the bell to be notified when I upload, I'd appreciate that. You want to go over to Twitter, follow me over there, I would appreciate that as well. I have a TikTok down in my description that I think you should check out, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.